Hey guys, welcome back to Foot Talk TV, episode number 3. Today I am joined by our top analyst of the show, Abel Main Martinez or Hernandez, whichever, and the master, Jasrel Hernandez. How are you guys doing today?
Yeah, I'm good.
That's good. Well, all right. So straight to the point. We're going to talk about Champions League semifinals. We saw a tremendous quarterfinals, good matches, disappointments for some of us, upsets for some of us, and others, victorious triumphs. But I just want to focus on semifinals. Our semis, we have Paris Saint-Germain versus Manchester City and Chelsea versus Real Madrid. All right. I want to start with the first match that I feel like, well, let's build up to that match. Let's start with Chelsea versus Real Madrid first. Let's start out with that. All right. And I'm just going straight to the point. Let's start, Abel, and just tell me this. Who's your favorite for that match, Chelsea or Real Madrid?
Chelsea.
Jess, who's your favorite for that match, Chelsea or Real Madrid?
Money.
All right. Let's start. Abel, let's start with you. Why do you think Chelsea has the edge over Real Madrid?
It's not that I think they got the edge, but it's more of a surprise type of game. Like I feel like Chelsea are gonna bring up a surprise, and right now they're doing pretty good. They've been winning all their games except for West Brom, but every team at least loses once. But right now Tuchel has given Chelsea that momentum.
Right.
And they're doing good. They beat Porto. They did what was expected of them to do. And this Real Madrid, I think that Chelsea can, if they can exploit, they have younger team, they have a younger team than Real Madrid. And Real Madrid have the middle of the park in their team is really old. They're still really world class, but if Chelsea can exploit that, they can probably win the game. And yeah.
Yes. Why Real Madrid? Why?
They obviously Chelsea have the younger team, but normally as the players, if they know how to get this done,
Right.
I mean, it almost will be back for those messages and normally get the tackle forward the midfield is the best with knowledge of Casemiro, Icos, Valverde too.
Oh yeah, Valverde is really good.
Valverde is a beast. And if those people work together really well, they have the advantage.
So here, what we're seeing, it's as you said, I agree with both of you guys. Well, you're saying Chelsea has a lot of, and yes, they have a young, good players, young talented players. But here you have players in Real Madrid that have won Champions Leagues already. You have Casemiro, you have Modric, you have Kroos. These guys are masters in the midfield. Casemiro, very strong, very solid center defensive midfield. You have Modric and Kroos who have experience. So here we're seeing a matchup between experience and youth. Jess, going back to you, what do you think will prosper here, experience or youth?
Experience and more troubling because we always see that experience always think that we portray because you can be the fastest on the strongest, yeah. But if you have that experience, you know what to do and you know how to win. and much of those people of Chelsea don't know how to play the Champions League yet.
Right. Yeah, of course. Abel, here, Jess, you give really good arguments. Real Madrid, they're titans in the Champions League. These guys are consistent. These guys are powerhouses. Everyone recognizes that. And that is why they have that experience. So that's why some may consider them as favorites. Abel, do you still think that Chelsea's youth core and just young players are in their primes? Do you think this team still has the edge over Real Madrid's experience?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say some of them are in their prime yet. I mean, they're probably about to be.
Right.
Like, for example, like, yeah, I agree with Hess. Experience a lot of the times over beats young, you know, because yeah, you could be the fastest, but with that experience, you know, what does that work for? But sometimes it is to your advantage, like the PSG versus Bayern Munich game. PSG only made it to the semifinal one time, only made it to the final one time. They don't have much experience over a Bayern Munich with experience, but you know, they beat that Bayern Munich with experience. Muller, Neuer, you know, these players that have a lot of experience yet got one-upped by PSG players. Or for when Ajax beat Real Madrid, that beautiful story of Ajax beating all these big teams, Juventus, Real Madrid, Bayern Munich, they tied with them. And even though they didn't have the experience, they didn't have they were young players, they still managed to beat a Real Madrid with a lot of experience. So that's why I'm still leaning on Chelsea.
Jess, you want to counter anything that he said before we move on?
Namely, Bayern Munich, Bayern Munich, they had the main player slowly why Collenza why injured. Then was injured.
I mean, you could argue the same thing.
Calabria was injured. In PSG, only had Menardi and Marquinhos.
But he's getting injured. But
actually, can I talk?
Abel, let's give the floor to Abel. Right.
I'm glad you mentioned that because I'm glad you mentioned that because I was actually thinking PSG. Everybody had Bayern to be PSG, so did I. And I'm actually really surprised that PSG won because I think they had the worst defense that they could have ever had because they had Marquinhos in the beginning of the first, for the first 25 minutes, I forgot. But after that, they had to put Danilo he's primarily a central down midfielder. He had to go to central defender. And then they don't even have Florenzi or Bernat, which are their best fullbacks. And then also they were playing Dagba, a really young player, and the right back, and they still managed to not concede that many to Bayern Munich. Well, they did concede 3 goals, but for that type of defense, it's actually a pretty well stat. You know, they should have lost way more. They should have lost way more goals. You know, it should have been like 6 goals that Bayern could have scored. You know, and that defense from PSG means they were playing really well together. Like in the second leg, I saw they were playing very well in the defense, trying to keep the ball away from the attackers.
All right. So now that we're talking about Paris, I think it's a good time to move on to the PSG versus Manchester City. Just to sum up, the Real Madrid versus Chelsea. I'm going to be honest, both teams have a chance. It's going to be a good match. Both semis are really good matches. Yeah. You have heavyweights going at it. So it's going to be, I'm really excited to see this one. The Real Madrid versus Chelsea. Let's move on to Manchester City versus PSG. Now that we're talking about PSG, here we have players that most of them are young or most of them are in their prime. Very talented players. Manchester City is number 1 in their domestic league in the Premier League. PSG may not be number 1, but they're still battling it out. PSG, and they have 2 semis in their favor, just like Man City. However, PSG is the one that made it to the final last season and lost against Lyon. So, Abel, who do you have as your favorite for the Manchester City versus PSG match?
Manchester City.
And Jess, who do you have for Manchester City versus PSG?
Either one.
Either one?
It can go in a way.
All right, let's
I mean,
start.
if you had to pick one, who would you pick?
No one. Because let me pay why.
All right.
Because okay, if Silly come uh be composed and have that balance against PSG, they're going to win for sure. But like we always see Silly mess things up.
Right. They bottle
That's
it.
why if they do like buy up the online, always give and take and pull up the defend to support the attack. Being go que I corner attack and they can go many goals.
Hey, but what do you?
That's why I think it can go either way.
And so this is really true. We saw how like Jess said, the back line of Bayern would have to push it up. Of course, you're down. Bayern wanted to win. Bayern wanted to get their spot in the semis, but
Well,
but he and we saw how PSG took advantage of those few mistakes that Bayern was able to make because of
it's
the
like
back line being forward. PSG, when you have a Neymar and Mbappe, two
it's
talented,
like
pacey strikers. If Man City does that same thing, Gable, which Man City can still be prone to doing that,
yeah.
are you concerned about that? About having quick strikers and prolific strikers like Neymar and Mbappe?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a PSG fan, right? And out of all the games they've been playing, this is the game I'm mostly concerned of because I had Manchester United City favorites, but yeah, like Hess said, either one can win. It all depends on
Right.
who plays their tactics better. You know, either Pochettino or Pep. You know, Pep likes to like overthink things, but
Yeah.
this is their chance. This is their chance for both teams. Both teams really have one of them have to win, and they're both going to go inside the game with that mentality that this is the most important game of their life. You know.
You know what's really interesting? Like I was telling this to Jess the other day, how I compare them to Liverpool, PSG. I mean, I'm not saying they're like Liverpool was whenever they won the Champions League. I'm going to say this might be a hot take for many, but they were the best team by far in Europe. However, PSG we see is pretty much history repeats itself. Last year, PSG made it to the finals and lost. And everyone had Bayern as a clear favorite, or most people had a Bayern as a clear favorite. This year, all these four teams are favorites, honestly, to win the
Yeah.
Champions League. And we see the same thing with Liverpool. The year when Liverpool played against Real Madrid and lost, nobody had Liverpool as a favorite. I think everyone had Real Madrid as a favorite. Yes, it would have been cool to see Liverpool win because Klopp, that was his first Champions League final with Liverpool. That was the second Champions League final as a manager. It would have been cool to see Liverpool win, but they lost. However, they made it to the finals next year and beat Tottenham. Abel, do you think this could happen with PSG? PSG made it to the semis last year and finals last year, lost. This year they're in the semis again. Do you see them getting to the finals again and winning?
Yeah, for sure. Like they're growing as a team, you know, and I think that's really a good possibility. They can win the Champions League this year, you know.
Right.
I mean, back to the Manchester United versus Manchester City versus PSG game. I think I have Manchester City to win, but I think PSG definitely have a chance. You know,
Right.
like this. There's a difference because if maybe Poch has to change things up because you know how he likes to. PSG's main thing is to counterattack, but with if you have like Kyle Walker's a really fast player. If he's starting, he can keep track of Mbappe. I think he can.
Yeah.
So if they have to change their way of play PSG, then Man City can be in control of the whole game because you know PSG might not be comfortable with how they're playing, and if Man City take advantage of that and they control the whole game, just kind of like how they did versus in the second leg of the Dortmund game. You know, they were at the beginning they were losing, but they stayed calm. You know, they played their game and they ended up winning the game. So I think that's why I think Man City can win this game.
Jess, do you think this beautiful story can repeat itself with the French powerhouse?
I think the problem of PSG, they don't have a game plan. You know, that their game plan is always counter attack. And
Right.
thank God that a team I know that they get only got themselves and that will be the dominant very difficult the games previous game we saw that when they had the ball they didn't know how to use it. And
Right.
I think the problem PSG has the most that they don't have a game plan.
Mhm.
And if the other team like Pep, we need to think that if PSG tenders are always schedule a day, he need to say to himself, okay, what we need to do to kill niggas to be balanced or along the field because they games are not to I got the opponent.
Right.
This game is to win. And I don't care if the quality is minimal, like 1-0, 0-2,
Right.
1.
A win's a win.
The point in the way and to get to the final in minutes.
I think this one out of both matches is exciting match. The most
Yeah.
exciting match. I don't know. What do you guys think? Like, which one are you guys most excited to watch?
PSG.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he can go either way, but
Yeah.
They call it the oil
PSG,
Casico or the oil derby
yeah,
or the Casico.
yeah,
Yeah.
but really need to think about that because they are superior, I think. But if they can make them, they are tactic, they are doomed.
They are, and I agree with that. I couldn't agree with you even more, Jess. I think it's pretty much clear who we think has that notch, of course, or that edge, or we think, or we would like to think they have the edge over PSG, but of course we know PSG's lethal. PSG has a lot of
Yeah,
talent, a talented attack. But I'm excited for the semis. I'm really excited. I feel like whichever four teams win, it's going to be an exciting final. And I think, of course, we'll be in the lookout for that. And do you guys have any last words before we finish up our episode?
no.
Anybody have any last words?
No.
All right. So guys, I appreciate you guys for joining me today in this predictions for the or not really predictions, but our analysis for the semis. Shout out to one always, as we always say, to Asbhai Photography and Aggregate Infinity for always helping us out, put this video together and whatnot. Shout out to you guys for joining me. And so hope you guys enjoy this this episode. Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, all that crap. Do all that. All right, guys. Goodbye for now.